Thanks so much for taking the time to join us today. We're going to be powdering these lovely baby dolls. These dolls just got to enjoy a nice bubble bath with some scent-free soap, and now we're going to use this pure cornstarch baby powder, and I'll go over some reasons why it's important to powder your silicone dolls. The main reason why people like to powder silicone is because over time, after handling these dolls, the oils from your fingers rub off on them and they become tacky or sticky. That means that they become really shiny and thus they look less realistic. So this powder, let's put it on this little mermaid washcloth. So we're going to use our Aristocat brush, link for these below, of course. And you just want to put a little bit of powder on here, brush it around, looks like this. And we'll start with the face. After the doll has dried off, you want to make sure you dry inside their nostrils, their mouth, the crevices in their ears. And then we're just going to brush powder along their face. A little bit goes a long way, I always say. You don't need tons and tons of powder. If you happen to accidentally pour out too much and put too much on the doll to where the coating of it is visible, you can use a washcloth that's dry and kind of pat it off. You want to make sure you get in all the folds. So not only will this mattify the doll, making them look more realistic again, it also makes the doll smoother to the touch so they feel better, which can be more therapeutic for if you're like cuddling the doll. Let's get in the neck crease. And the reason why we use the cornstarch baby powder is because it's more natural and you don't want any additives. Because certain chemicals or additives could mix with the paint or the silicone in a negative way. And I've already done under these babies' diapers, just so you know. If you follow along on Patreon, thank you so much. You'll have already seen these babies get their bath earlier today. And even though they just got out of the bath, you still see a couple hairs stuck to them still. Nobody's perfect. If you're thinking this video is familiar, that's because maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I can't quite remember when. I think it was a year and a half ago or more, I did a video similar to this. So this is the updated version and it's the better version since I'm no longer filming on a potato and the quality of the sound is better too, etc. Let's get this little bald baby's head. This baby's from Temu, so I'll put the link below. I don't have a link to the first baby, however, she is a Babeside doll. This one's eyes are really pretty. Get in all the little fat folds. That sounds funny.
Fat folds.
So people like to get the stickiness off so the doll looks real and it feels better after doing this. And also, you'll have a lot less things like dirt and debris stuck to the doll for a while after doing this. As an adult collector, I probably only do this every 6 months, 8 months, something like that. I don't have to do it a whole lot. If you have a child that has these dolls, maybe they're rougher or dirtier with their dolls and they might need to powder the baby more often. I don't know. It's just going to depend or if you take the doll outside more often. I'll go over some ways to prevent them from becoming as sticky as quickly near the end, so stay tuned for that. And while you're here, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I make weekly doll content videos. Okay, and you're good to go.
Perfect.
One of the top benefits of powdering baby dolls, for me at least, is that they're way easier to dress. I'll demonstrate that when I'm finished doing this, you guys. But when they're sticky or tacky, they're extremely difficult to pull their arms through sleeves, and so they're more likely to get caught and tear or rip if they're dirty and sticky. So it's in your best interest to try to keep these dolls as clean as possible. Remember to make sure they're totally dry so that they don't get mold and mildew from having baby powder put on a wet spot. That would be a disaster. Teague has been powdered the most because he's one of my oldest silicone dolls. I don't have a link to Teague, however, I have a link below to his sister that has hair. Well, brother or sister. That's a wet and drink. So it's basically the same doll, pretty much, with hair. So if you're interested, that will be below. No pressure, just letting you guys know. I do get asked for links pretty frequently, though. And you guys, I'm really not being rough with the dolls. I think some viewers think that because you guys maybe can't tell that I've sped up certain parts. But yes, I do speed up certain parts, because sometimes things take a while and I don't want you guys sitting there bored the whole time, okay? So that's just the reality of filming. You're gonna do things that drone on at times and need to be sped up in the future when you go to edit the video. That's normal. Okay, as soon as we get these little toes, these little piggies will be done with this part. Okay, and while we're here, yes, these are 10-inch, 12-inch, almost 14-inch. So after you powder the doll, in order to preserve this powdery goodness, you might want to put some little mittens on the doll. These are just some Babeside mittens. If you are pressed for time and cannot powder the doll and the doll is dirty and sticky, the mittens are going to be your best friend because they're going to help you dress the doll with more ease when they're sticky. This shirt has kind of tight sleeves on it, so I'll just show you. It just goes on a little easier now that she's powdered, and I'll speed this up just a hair because you guys don't need to see the whole process. See how easily that slipped on her? No struggle. So the silicone didn't get pulled at all. These mittens are big, so they slip off of her. So yeah, you want to powder them so they're easier to dress, look more realistic, and less hairs and stuff stuck to them. If you live in a really humid climate, or it's just summer and it's really hot where you live, the dolls are more likely to look and feel stickier more often. I would suggest maybe using these silica gel pouches that have little pebbles in them. Just put this in the doll's box if you store them in a box like I do. If you store them on a shelf, you could place these behind the dolls in the shelves. I do that in our pantry so that our food doesn't get moist and get humidity in it and spoil. So the same goes for dolls. If you store a silicone doll in a box, you'll notice when you open the lid, sometimes the lid has some greasy or oily spots. That's just from temperature changes throughout your house. If it gets warmer, the doll kind of sweats and secretes something that's oily. This also happens with vinyl dolls because I've noticed it with some of my vinyl dolls that I keep in boxes, like Emily, my Ashton Drake doll. Her lid to her box inside is greasy like a pizza box. It's kind of gross. I don't know why that happens, but I'm pretty sure it's temperature changes rising, making the doll kind of sweat, so to speak. If you know more on that topic, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks. Oh yeah, it was kind of funny. Well, not really funny. Maybe I can laugh at it now, but when they got out of the bath, I had them all on the same blanket, and when I picked it up to carry them away, she fell face first, face planted the ground. And so she had so many hairs and stuff. She had to get another sink bath after their bath. So that was fun. Not. I'll probably think of some info about powdering that I forgot to mention right now. Let me know if this info helped you at all. So to sum it up, you want to powder your baby dolls that are made out of silicone to keep them from getting sticky so that hair and debris and dirt don't stick to them, to make them easier to dress, to make them more fun to hold and more realistic to the touch, and just to preserve them so they're not sweating. We'll see you guys in the next one.